Good morning, everyone. My name is Ilan Rabinowitz. I'm from Stratfin, and we're going to be talking today about medical tax rebates. And I'm just going to wait 1 minute just to see if there's anyone else who wants to join and who's maybe running a little bit late, and we will begin. Um, the webinar will probably finish by won't take longer than half an hour, 20 minutes. And by the end of the webinar, you'll know most of what there's to know about medical aid and medical tax refunds and what you'll be entitled to claim, and you'll know all about it. So we'll just start in about 30 seconds or so. Okay. For those who've joined, good morning. Welcome to the webinar from Stratfin Solutions. My name is Ilan Rabinowitz. I am one of the founders and directors of Stratfin Solutions. I'll tell you a little bit about our company, what we do, about tax rebates and refunds, and opportunities that you are probably or may not be claiming certain tax refunds or rebates from SARS. And even though you're entitled to it, you may not know that much about it. Let's kick off. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. We entitled this webinar, Stop Missing Out on Medical Tax Refunds. We're going to discuss what you can claim, who qualifies, and how we, Stratfin as a company, can assist you. So who's Stratfin? So we've been in business for many years. I am a chartered accountant with over 20 years experience. We have several chartered accountants and support staff in the company. And one of the products or focuses that we have is on medical tax refunds. We view ourselves as being experts in unlocking these tax refunds. We call them hidden because many people don't know that they're actually entitled to get medical tax rebate or refund from SARS or credit. One of the things that distinguishes us from other accountants and tax practitioners is that it's one of our specialities, and we do not charge you if unless we are successful in getting the tax rebate or tax refund for you. So there's no upfront costs. You are free to engage with us at no costs. We can help you. We can advise you. We can try and get that refund back from you. And only if you are successful, if you get a credit from SARS, then we will charge you for that. Okay. So there is a very technical side to the rebate and credit process, but I'm going to try and simplify it for you. It doesn't mean that you can't ask any complicated or technical questions. I'm happy to answer anything that you may have. Towards the end of the seminar, I'll give you an opportunity. But suffices to say at this point is that there are two rebates or medical aid tax credits that SARS give a person. So the first medical credit is called a Section 6A. That's 6A, Section 6A of the Income Tax Act. And if you are on a medical aid, okay, then you will get a rebate of approximately 300 Rand per month. Okay, if you are on a medical aid and you have another dependent as well, then it goes up to 600 Rand per month. If you have a third dependent, then it's like 1,200 Rand per month. That's the approximate amount that you can get back from SARS as a credit. And this will appear in your tax return. And in some cases, it can even be claimed before your tax return dates. It can be claimed already in your or via your payslip. Now, there's another section that you may be entitled to, and that's called a Section 6B credit. And this is where we have a lot of opportunity to maximize. So there's quite a complicated formula, and it really kind of works like this. If you have higher medical aid and medical expenses, then you might get a higher Section 6B credit as well. That credit might be zero, it might be 10,000, 20,000, 50, or even 100,000 Rand. There's a lot of factors that determine that. The higher your income, the lower your Section 6B. But the higher your medical expenses, the higher your Section 6B. Now, who can qualify for an elevated or an exponential Section 6B? So the 6B, everyone can potentially get, but if you fall into a criteria where you have somebody in your family who has a medical condition that's considered moderate to severe. Okay, so there's three criteria really. So if you have a condition that's mild, then the Section 6B formula doesn't change. If it's moderate or severe, the condition that anyone in the family has that's on your medical aid, then you can get a much higher benefit on Section 6B. And what SARS do is they divide the different conditions into six categories. So the first one is intellectual, then there's vision, communication, physical, mental, and hearing. So we tax guys, we don't know that much about medical, we're not doctors, but we can give you a lot of information from our clients and what qualifies and what doesn't qualify and what SARS accepts as being a medical condition that's acceptable to claim. So I'll give you a couple of examples. If you're wearing a hearing aid, then it's for sure that you fit into the category of hearing, where you'll get an exponential credit on the Section 6B. If you have you or your spouse or any dependent that you are paying for medical aid have a mental condition. So mental conditions, we find the following really work: anxiety, depression, bipolar, those kind of things, ADHD, physical, there can be sleep apnea, arthritis, chronic back pain, cancers, etc. Communication, person with a stutter. Those are the kind of medical conditions that qualify for you to get a higher and exponential Section 6B credit from SARS. Okay, now when we talk about the credit that you can claim from SARS, we are looking at several categories, okay, and this is based on your expenditure. So if we just take a step back, you as a taxpayer incur expenses for your medical aid, okay? Then sometimes the medical aid doesn't pay, right? In your self-payment gap, or you go to a specialist that charges you 1,300, but medical aid only pays 700. So there's an out-of-pocket expense. And then it could be that you have a child who has a learning difficulty, and that child needs to go to a special school. So those special schools cost extra because they have therapies and special learning aids. So those kind of costs actually fall under medical expenditure. In addition, there might be travel expenditure to go to the school or to hospitals or to see specific doctors. And there's a lot of out-of-pocket expenses that might also qualify. Any medical condition that a person has in your family whereby you are incurring expenditure that is because of the medical condition, and it is a necessary expense because of that. For example, let's say you have a child with severe, moderate or severe ADHD and needs a facilitator or a tutor. Those extra lessons or tutor or facilitator adds to your medical costs. Now, if you all these medical costs, if you have a condition that's moderate to severe, then SARS will give you a rebate or a refund based on those costs. Just going back to the slide, I want to explain one other aspect. What would happen is that you would really add all the costs together that you are incurring for medical. And if you do qualify, you have in your family somebody with a moderate to severe medical condition, then all your costs that you incur for medical, all these costs that I have indicated here, you can get a rebate from SARS of up to 33%. 33% of all those costs. So let's say your medical aid is 100,000 Rand a year, and your school fees for the special school is 50,000 Rand, and your travel and any out of pocket expenses is another 50,000. So in total, your costs for medical is 200,000 Rand, like a really extremely high figure. SARS will then give you a refund or a rebate really of 33% of that. I'm just putting into my calculator, which will come to approximately 66,000 Rand. And that's what you'll be entitled to get. Oh, a little bit more about what we do and how we can assist you. One of the unbelievable opportunities is that if this is the first time that you're hearing about this, or you heard about it, but you don't know how to action it or obtain that refund that you're entitled to, what we do is we can go back to SARS and say, SARS, sorry, we didn't know about it. We weren't able to submit it. And we can go back 3 years, okay, up to 3 years and say to SARS, please, can we get a refund or a rebate on those medical expenses? And we can go 3 years back, even if you've already submitted your tax return and you haven't claimed it. The next thing is that we try and maximize the claim as much as possible. We have a look at your situation and we try and ensure that the claim that we present to SARS includes all your medical expenses that you would be entitled to get back, and we present it in a way that likely ensures that you'll get the credits applied to your account. We also streamline the process for you. Each of our clients gets an account manager. You're on a WhatsApp group with them. I would say 24/7, but it's not always like that, where you can speak to them, you can find out, you know exactly what's happening. These claims can be quite complicated. Like if you don't know the e-filing and the SARS ecosystem, it's very difficult for a person who's new to it to try and claim it. And we have accountants who then liaise with you, who liaise with your doctor, who liaise with the school, who liaise with whoever needs to be spoken to and communicated with in order to get all the information that we need and to bring it into one place, and then we submit it on your behalf. So we would like to just say that, the team is really outstanding, and we would like you to take action today. If you do qualify and you are incurring medical expenses, and there is somebody in your family who has a condition that's moderate to severe, then you are entitled. SARS has in the Income Tax Act provision to help families who are facing these types of conditions and additional expenditure, and they have put into the act a way to compensate these families and taxpayers and assist them with their medical expenses. You don't have to leave your current accountant or tax practitioner. We work with them, beside them. We don't necessarily submit your tax return for you. You can still do that by yourself if you wish, or your accountant. But what we do is we really focus on the medical aspect of the tax return side. Just to note that some of the claims that we do get are between 50 to 150,000 Rand. That's not an exaggeration, that's a real number. And we would really like you guys to take advantage of this. We get a lot of pleasure when we help families, just to give you a little bit of perspective. I have in my family a child who has a moderate to severe medical condition. If I never knew about this, I personally would get about 16,000 Rand from SARS on my medical expenses. However, now because I know about this and I have claimed and I submitted everything to SARS correctly, SARS now pays me instead of 16,000 Rand, I get 56,000 Rand. So that's an extra 40,000 Rand per year that I get back from SARS. If you were in my position and you hadn't claimed, we can claim back for 2006 now, 2026, 2025, and 24. So you can get potentially another 40,000 Rand times by 4. So it's 160,000 Rand that is potentially available for you to claim and obtain from SARS should you qualify and the process is done correctly. I am now going to open the floor to any questions. I see there's about 16 participants in the webinar, and I've got a couple of questions, and please feel free to submit any questions that you have, and I'll try and answer them to the best of my ability. Okay, so the first question that came up is, do you have to incur an extra cost over and above the medical aid monthly costs? Okay, very good question. So no, you don't have to incur any additional expenditure. So if you just pay for your medical aid, and you may have a little bit or no out-of-pocket costs, okay, so you'll get your 6A and potentially a 6B. But let's say, for example, your medical aid cost is 100,000 Rand a year. SARS will only refund you about 12 or 13,000 Rand. But if there is somebody in your family with a medical condition, you'll get 33,000 Rand back from them. So that's a 21,000 Rand uplift without spending any additional costs. Okay, number two, thank you so much. Do you charge a flat rate or a percentage? So as I said, we at Risk here, we do not charge unless you get your credit back from SARS, and our flat rate is 20% of the value that we add. I'll give you an example. Like I mentioned before, let's say normally without Stratfin, you'd get, let's say 13,000 Rand back. Now you get 43,000 Rand. Our charge is only on the difference, the 30,000 Rand value that we add to you. Okay, so we charge 20% on that 30,000 Rand, which is 6,000 Rand. So you'll get 43,000 Rand, and our charge will be 6,000 Rand. Okay, next question. My daughter is not on my medical aid, but I pay cash for occupational therapist and speech therapist monthly. Can I add that to my tax return? Yes. So if your daughter is not on your medical aid, but she is a dependent on you, you have incurred those medical expenses and you are entitled to claim for those. There is a little bit of additional paperwork that you might have to prove to SARS, that she's your daughter and that she's dependent on you, etc. But even expenses that are not on your medical aid, you can claim. You can add them to your out-of-pocket expenses. If there is no medical condition, you may get something extra. But if there is a medical condition in the family, then you'll get 33% of that expense back from SARS when you do your tax return or when we assist you in completing and submitting for you. Okay, next question. Okay, every month, I'm just gonna make it a little bit more generic. Okay, somebody asks that if they pay for medication, let's say the medical aid does not pay for the medication, but they pay out of pocket, they pay cash or credit card. Does that go towards the Section 6A? So remember, Section 6A has it's a fixed amount that you get. It's like 300 Rand per person who's on the medical aid per month. So if there's two people on the medical aid, you'll get a credit of 600 Rand per month. It's got nothing to do with how much you pay for medical aid or expenses, but it may go towards the Section 6B. If that person who you're getting medication for has a medical condition that's moderate to severe, as we discussed, then it's always good to put it through the medical aid, even though the medical aid does not pay, and you pay cash, and that figure will come up on your medical aid tax certificate as being an out-of-pocket costs, and that out-of-pocket will then accumulate towards your 6B amounts. Next question. Very good. Do you work at the same time as upcoming tax return, or is the process run separately? So the medical benefit can be claimed at any time. So we can claim it today, right? And you can get your refund within 4 to 8 weeks, depending on how quickly we can submit. Or 4 to 8 weeks. If what we can't do is submit your medical claim for 2026 because that tax period hasn't opened yet, but we can certainly go back and submit if you qualify for 25, 24, and 23. So I would say and suggest to you that if you do want to claim, we should do it as soon as possible before the busy period opens so that it can be attended to quite quickly and you can get your refunds quite quickly. Okay, I've got time for one more question. Okay, somebody asked that they have a daughter. The daughter goes to a special needs school and is a dependent and is on their medical aid. Would she be able to claim back on her schooling and medication? So this is perfect. This is the best case that you can have. Unfortunately, for the family and the situation, it's expensive and it's a struggle to deal with these situations. But from a tax perspective, this is exactly the sweet spot. So if you've got a medical aid, okay, you're going to get a certain amount back from SARS. Certainly, that's definitely the 6A. Now the child goes to a special school. So I'm assuming you are paying school fees, right? So there is the element of additional school fees because the girl or the daughter or the child is at a special school. Okay, there is one or two technical aspects on how that gets adjusted, but I'm not going to go into it now. And certainly her medication and transport to school, if the school is more than 10 kilometers from your place of residence, we can claim all of that. And you can get back 33% of all your expenditure. I'm going to leave it there for today. I know that there's many more questions. I didn't get to all of them, unfortunately. But please be in touch with one of our staff members at Stratfin. We're there to help you. We've got a fantastic team. I'm telling you, outstanding from all aspects of technical um, giving you customer service, following up, submitting to SARS, speaking to your doctor, um, dealing with any issues. Sometimes it can be that SARS rejects it, but we'll follow up, we'll fight, we'll try and get you the best claim that you're entitled to and that you qualify for. I'm going to just want to thank David, who's in the background, who put the webinar together, and Dovi and his team who facilitated this webinar. Um, we are very excited to help you, and I'm going to go off now. I've got a meeting, and we look forward to speaking to you and hearing from you. And yeah, please be in touch with Stratfin. I'm going to ask David to please put our details, our contact details, and our emails in the chat, so you
Uh,
all have access to that. Have a good day and have a lovely weekend. And yeah, please be in touch. We are very passionate about saving you money and saving you tax. Have a good morning.
Thank you, Lan. Everyone will get a WhatsApp with actions. If you wish to go forward with us, you just reply to that message.
Thank you.